Director Arthur Penn is here. He began his career directing live television in the early 1950s. He is perhaps best known for his contribution to theater and to film. His Broadway successes have included Toys in the Attic, Wait Until Dark, and The Miracle Worker, which earned him a Tony. He's been equally prolific in film, earning 3 Oscar nominations for films including Bonnie and Clyde and Alice's Restaurant. In the 1990s, he served as the president of the famed Actors Studio. Now, at 78, he has embarked on a new challenge, returning to his roots in television. This season, he has assumed the post of executive producer of NBC's award-winning drama, Law & Order.
Are you saying I killed my own son?
What we're saying is you were in a desperate situation, and maybe without meaning to, you looked to get out of it.
I never looked to get out of anything.
The fire was set, Megan.
So what? So why is it you think I'm the only one who could have set it?
I'm pleased to have Arthur Penn back at this table. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
How do you feel about this? I mean, tell me how it came about. I mean,
it came about by the most peculiar sort of phone call. I got a phone call from Dick Wolf, or somebody for Dick Wolf, saying, would you like to have dinner with Dick?
Yeah.
And we had never met. So I got to the restaurant with my habitual earliness, which
right.
is, I can't seem to get over that. But
you're always prompt.
I'm prompt beyond prompt. I can take up residence before the hours are necessary.
I could learn from you.
Yeah?
Yes.
I was sitting there at the bar, having told the woman who was the head of it all that I was there. In came this nattily dressed man, beautifully turned out, and he sat down at a booth, and I looked at him, and he kept looking at his watch, and finally he said to her, have you heard anything from Arthur Penn? She said, yeah, that's him over there. And so that's how we met. I was drawn over, sidled up to the booth, had a very fine little dinner, and then very quickly he said to me, you want to run the show? Law and Order? And I said, well, I have to ask my son, because my son is a director on Law and Order. Right. And I said, this is sort of reverse nepotism.
This is great. Yeah.
And so I asked Matt, and Matt said, sure, go ahead and do it. It's an interesting job, a very interesting job. And then Ed Sheeran, of course, who had been doing it for 7 years, was an old friend, and I went up and spoke with him about it, and he said, I think you'll enjoy it. And I was at that point, having worked for the Actors Studio for a good number of years, and having started a theater a free theater, mind you, over on 42nd Street, as well as that large program that took place between the Actors Studio and the New School University. Right. So that was a sizable body of sort of pro bono, and it was somehow necessary for whatever my needs are personally to get back to work, to get back to the real demands of salaried work. Yeah. And so I took it.
Now, why did Dick turn to you? Did somebody say, Ed's leaving, we got to do something, and someone said, you know who Matt's father is? It's Arthur Penn.
I have heard that said.
That's the story I've heard. Yeah.
Yes, I heard it said. I think it was Lou Gould, who had been an AD of mine on a film that I had made years ago called Penn and Teller Get Killed. Yeah. And I think when they were searching for somebody, he suggested that. And that's what put it in motion.
Why did they want you? They wanted a steady hand. They wanted an experience.
I think
they wanted somebody who knew something about acting, knew something about movies, knew something about telling a story, knew something about the business.
Yeah, you want to be an agent? Listen, I need somebody who can do it.
But that's all they said, and that was it. You said yes. I'm on.
I said yes, and bing, it was a done deal.
Now this will become. They just signed another 5-year deal. This will
After
be the
10
second
years.
largest running drama series since Gunsmoke.
Exactly. It's absolutely incredible, isn't it?
So this is going to be a tough job because you can't screw this up. They have it right.
Yeah,
they're doing something right.
They have it right, and I've been spending the first 8 episodes learning how they do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they have a way.
Because you want to build on what they've got.
Well,
they've been doing something
I hope. Right now, I started out thinking I can build on what they've got, only to discover that I didn't know what they had.
Yeah.
And now I'm learning very quickly.
What do they have?
they have an orthodoxy of their own, a system. I keep describing it in sort of narrative terms, which is it's an absolutely vertical narrative. They don't go laterally at all.
Yeah.
You know, they don't go out into this. What happened to this guy, Jesse Martin's family? What happened to Jerry Orbach's family?
Right.
You know, or Angie.
It's not so much about behavior, it's about story.
Not at all. Not at all. It's all pulled
It's
in
not character
right.
development, it's...
No, it's right here, and these are the facts. And it's Dragnet in a certain form, you know, accommodated to TV.
I'm told that they got all these writers out there in Hollywood somewhere.
Yep,
and
they
they're
do.
just pouring over newspapers, looking for great story ideas that give it topicality
Absolutely.
and texture.
Absolutely. And it's exactly where it comes from. Every day they fly out to the New York Times.
Yeah.
The New York edition of the New York Times. And pour over it, and they're you know, you really you can hardly miss with any given day. 2 13-year-old boys just raped a woman. Was the story this morning.
Yeah. Somebody, they took note of that and says, is there a story?
I suspect somebody out there went, well, wow, you know.
You know, what will you do?
What will I do as the... Well, I tell you what I do. I'm a constant presence. I'm available to a lot of young directors who work for Law and Order. Most of them have come up through the technical ranks, and so they're not so comfortable with the actors. And so I sort of bridge that gap, between the actors and the young directors, and then bridge the gap between the actors and the writers out there in Hollywood. So I've gone out a couple of times now and spent a little bit of time with the writers, talking to them and saying that. You know, that I welcomed an opportunity to be available to them at any time they wanted to talk. They have a marvelous head writer, a man named Billy Finkelstein, who's come over from NYPD Blue, and he's running the show out there.
There are a lot of people who want to read this into this. Arthur Penn is 77 years old. Isn't it great? This is a blow for people over... not 50, not 60,
no,
70, who have the wit, who have the energy, who have the drive to make good work.
Yeah,
Let's not forget that because you're over 65,
no,
you know, you don't want to sit on some couch and watch television the rest of your life.
Exactly.
Or play golf the rest of your life.
No.
Or, you know.
No, the way I play golf, I'd rather do television.
Take a look at this. This is miracle work, I think.
Oh, is it?
You'll see some of your work.
Oh, yes.
Good girl.
Aren't they delicious?
Oh,
Aren't they
that was
delicious?
good,
Oh, I love them both. I really do. They just were such a great pair. Such troopers. Absolutely superb.
We're next going to see a clip from Bonnie and Clyde.
Are we?
Not in the beginning. It wasn't a hit.
No, it wasn't.
What happened?
Well, when it was rather startling, as you can imagine. When we showed it to the people at the studio, they deeply disliked it.
Right.
And so they then make a determination on how the film will be distributed and how much money will be spent on advertising, and that was quickly made, which was about zero. Yes. You know, I think they obligated the theater owner to run it for 3 days or something,
right.
And then it was gone. And what happened was Warren, who is a superb producer, absolutely superb, just gathered the energy and got the people together and re-evaluated the film in advertising terms and put it out there. And lo and behold, at the same time, unbeknownst to anybody, there was this groundswell among the young people in the country about this movie. And suddenly people were showing up at the box office asking the theater managers and owners if they could see this movie, which had been there, but had only been there for 3 or 4 days before it was yanked, because they get a sort of admonition from the studio that you're only going to get 2 or 3 days or 4 days out of this and then forget it. Well, lo and behold, having gone out of the theaters, these folks started to show up, and they started to show up not only as young people, but wearing the beret and wearing the suits.
Bonnie's beret.
Yeah, and Warren's suit and the fedora.
Yeah.
And it was really quite astonishing.
Amazing. Hackman was so good.
Wasn't he good?
Yeah.
Warren had been in a film with him called Lilith.
Yeah.
And said, "There's this guy. I only had a 5-minute scene with him, but you got to see it." And I saw it, and I thought, that's just the best actor I've seen in years.
Good. And is good.
He is, and he remains
talented
good.
guy.
He is remarkable, absolutely remarkable.
Do you think that Warren has given us all that he should have? Do you think he's made enough movies, but he's...
No, I don't. Warren is as I say, extraordinarily intelligent. He has spent so many hours and years, in fact, understanding the Hollywood politics and operating very well within them and beyond them. In so many ways, Warren is perhaps one of the most powerful people out there. Has he done the best yet in terms of making films? I don't think so.
I don't either.
I don't either.
Because he's got so much talent and so much capacity. And he would argue that he's done what he wanted to do in his life. And
yes, and I would say that that's
and
probably
in the
true.
end, that's true.
And that is probably true. I never knew him in all the time that I knew him and know him. I have never known him to lie.
Yeah.
So I think that's a true statement of his.
And here's Bonnie and Clyde, Warren Beatty.
It ain't like anything.
Shit, I knew you never robbed the place, you faker.
Anybody that you, in all these years, have wanted to work with badly that you didn't get a chance to?
Oh, many. Yes, there are so many.
Because you've seen them all at the Actors Studio, one way or the other.
Well, there, or else I've had the great good fortune to have worked with them.
Yeah.
With a good lead.
Paul Newman,
Marlon Brando, Jack Nicholson, Anne Bancroft, Jane Fonda, Robert Redford. I'm afraid it goes on and on.
Yeah. Brando is what in American acting?
Well, he's perhaps unique. He has also been extraordinarily brilliant. Probably as good as it gets, the best, in his early days. I remember seeing him in Streetcar Named Desire on the stage, absolutely breathtaking. And in early films.
I talked to somebody about what it was that he had, and they said he would always surprise you.
He would surprise you because he would surprise himself. He didn't know what he was going to do next, and he doesn't know to this day. When you get him on a movie set, and you say, "Okay, now you're going to sit down here, and your plate of carrots will be over here, and this." He'll come over and sit down here, and suddenly you're in a totally different perspective, and the operator is on the camera looking at you with one of these one eye saying, what's he going to do next? And I just say, stay with him, because he is without concern for any kind of strictures or any kind of practices,
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things I see in these actors who are so skilled on television is that they know the absolute medium. And Brando says, "Je m'en fous the medium." I'm out of here. I do it my own way. I don't concern myself with it.
Let me take a look at a clip from Law and Order just to show you what this has achieved that makes it such a successful television series. Here it is.
Is it your legal opinion that justice is served by letting her enter a plea to manslaughter?
Yes.
Abby.
I'll defer to Jack on this one.
Go to it.
Thank you.
Television is a good place to be now in some ways, isn't it?
Isn't it? It's an extraordinary place to be because I think it's somehow having a resurrection from a period where people thought, oh, movies are the major art.
Right.
But movies have either abdicated that posture or that throne and let it slip away a bit, more than a bit in American films, I think.
Yeah.
And suddenly, somehow, television has gotten vigorous. The sort of fragmentation of television into so many more outlets, I think, has been a very healthy thing, so the orthodoxy of the three networks is not what controls it anymore. And then we have the opportunity to see.
And everybody's making movies too on television. I mean, whether it's not just HBO, but lots of people are doing original work. The networks.
Absolutely.
Aaron Sorkin was here the other night. West Wing.
Terrific
it's
writer.
just a terrific production, which you're back to back with.
Yep. Well, I agree. Good fortune. We're going to inherit that audience.
If there's anywhere you can be, that's not a bad place.
Yeah.
Arthur, congratulations. This is great for you and great for us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.